Well, Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year. It's been a great year, isn't it? It's going to be even better next year, I'm sure. I popped my bottle of Corbel champagne. Well, it's just another day for me. Um, so I'm going to just continue on the board meeting because that's what I do for entertainment, as crazy as it sounds. And we got a little time here. There's been help with the calls, so I'm not all bogged down in that for a change. Let's see here. Let's go back and find our where we were. Okay. So we got done with this. Okay, we're gonna have. So what are we doing? Ordinances be read by title only. Oh, I don't know what that means. All right.
Thank you, Ms. Board President. Ordinance number 364 of the Tri-County Metropolitan Transportation District of Oregon, amending chapters 28 and 29 of the TRIMET Code to limit when law enforcement may conduct fair inspections, create a new offense regarding employee assaults, allow TRIMET personnel to address non-criminal violations, and update terminology. This is the first reading and public hearing.
Thank you. Before we hold a public hearing, General Manager Dessou, would you like to provide an explanation about this ordinance?
Thanks, President Simmons and Board Directors. Ordinance 364 is a continuation of our reimagined public safety efforts and other recent actions TriMet has taken to ensure a transit system that is safe and welcoming for all. We've taken a balanced and holistic approach to safety, and Ordinance 364 proposes
a holistic approach.
Some changes to the TriMet Code in support of those efforts. Generally, it makes 4 changes to Chapter 28 and 29 of the TriMet Code. The first change provides that law enforcement officers cannot ask individuals for evidence of their proof of fare. It puts into writing our current policy, which leaves the task of fare inspection to non-law enforcement personnel.
Now you know what they do here, right? The cops are standing there with the fare inspectors. They're just not actually asking for the fares, so it's kind of like a window dressing ordinance. Now we all know that the government, aka the totalitarians that are running our society, which are all of these people in the screen, are oppressing us at every level possible. So, I mean, they had some public outcry over their unconstitutional, and the court had ruled that their fare checks were unconstitutional. TriMet ignored it because that's what they do. I mean, courts don't mean anything to them. But they did make this little change that says that the cops can't physically do a fare mission. But what it does is allow the cops to be part of the fare mission. So they're standing right there. So it's not really that much of a change. Just like moving the transit police from the Portland police to the sheriff, like that's supposed to be some difference. Well, it's not. But, they did it because it looks good. And, TriMet's always trying to look good. I don't know how much they succeed because people are pretty much tired of TriMet. I mean, they're the only public agency in Portland that loses tax referendums. Every other agency gets them from the suckers that believe that government is trying to help them. Can you believe anybody's that stupid?
However, it allows for the general manager to authorize transit police to conduct fare inspections should it be necessary for a security reason.
See, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Like everything else they do. It's window dressing bullshit. But they pretend that it's some big change, and it's not any change at all.
The general manager would have to promptly notify the board and provide a report at the next regular board meeting on the reason for transit police involvement and the anticipated length of time that police will be.
Yeah, it's like Biden saying, I'm the president and I can issue mandates to all of you serfs because I am the president. So here we get to sue. I am the general manager and I can declare a transit emergency and send the cops in to get you. Same thing.
Work. The second change to the code addresses unacceptable behavior on our transit system. And this unfortunately includes people hurling bodily fluids at TRIMET personnel.
Yeah, you know what they're not going to tell you here is that some of these drivers are absolutely miserable people and treat people like dirt. Okay, and so they can just treat people like, they're a government agent, let's say, like, they're even worse than the police, the TRIMET. I hate to say this because I know the operators are offended and they hate my guts when I say it, but I'm just telling you how it is. You treat people like dirt, you're going to get pushback. So the fact that they're trying to make it sound like, oh, it's all these crazy people out here that are beating up our operators. Well, there's a reason. There's some of that is happening because of your operators. Okay, not some of it, a lot of it. Every time they leave somebody sitting in the ditch here, they're creating enemies. But this is government, and government is out of control at all levels. Even as a bus driver, you have unbelievable level of power over these citizens that are helpless in ditches. So even at the TRIMET level, we see the brutality of the government against its own citizens. And here we have him now proposing harsher penalties. And of course, all the operators are cheering this on because they don't have any consciousness about what's actually happening. They just see themselves as victims. They don't understand why this is happening. And there's so many of them that are ignorant that they'll never figure it out. Okay. They just see their own little life. But what we're seeing here is what's happening at every single level of government, the encroaching government penalizing every single action of the individual, all the way down to the TRIMET level of government. And this is our totalitarian society putting its arms around our necks, even at the very lowest level of government, which would be a transit agency. But always remember that a transit agency is nothing but a governmental unit. Okay, it's run by an unaccountable man who's not elected. He's appointed by a bunch of elites. I suppose it's these board members. I don't know how they're doing it. They're not completely unaccountable, and they're making the laws for everybody else to follow. And they don't see their own role in creating these crises. So what we have is another example of how government is strangling us, strangling the poorest of the poor.
Which just happened this morning, just to let everybody know. It includes spitting at them. And taking...
Yeah, you leave somebody, you won't let them on. What do you think? Oh, you're going to stay out here in the cold. I'm not taking you because you pissed yourself. And you just want them to stand there and take it. See, this is never going to be brought up by anybody but me. Nobody's going to bring this up because these elites don't have the slightest idea what's going on their system and why it's going on. Then TRIMET has cut all the service, left all these people stranded, and is creating resentment in the community, but they're blaming the community, of course, because that's what government does. Just like the vaccines have failed, so we'll blame the unvaccinated. Our vaccines don't work, so we're going to blame that on the people that didn't take them. You see this playing out at every fucking level of government.
And really talking with our frontline staff, this is a frequent concern that I hear, and it must...
And you have failed in getting the proper barriers. If you had proper barriers in those buses, this wouldn't be a problem, would it? But you failed your duty to protect your operators by not providing adequate barriers. You cheaped out on the barriers, so now you're having this problem, and so now you want to blame the riders, okay? We'll just penalize the riders.
must not be tolerated. So under this
Right,
change,
he thinks he's going to we're going to not tolerate this behavior because we're kings and they're serfs.
the general manager can issue a long-term exclusion from the system for anyone who is found to have violated this provision. And just so you know, board, if you think about someone spitting in your face, that's not pleasant. And I fully intend to do just that.
Yeah, of course it's not pleasant. It's not pleasant to leave somebody freezing in the ditch either. So you commit an act of violence, TRIMET, you're committing act of violences. Who's going to hold you responsible for your act of violence? Nobody, because you're government. And we're stuck with you.
If someone is caught spitting on our employees, they will lose the privilege of riding TRIMET for a very long time, in my estimation.
And how are you going to enforce that? You can't. It's not enforceable. It's another window dressing. It doesn't work because there's no way to enforce it. If you really wanted to stop attacks on operators, what you do is you provide them with the proper protection, barriers that actually prevent people from spitting on them and reaching on them. That's how you solve the problem, not this, not criminalizing the people on the buses. But this is your government at work oppressing you again. See, they could fix this problem completely simply by providing actual barriers that actual work. But that's not what they're going to do. They're going to blame the riders and make a nice little, here's I hereby declare that I am the head guy, and if you do this, you'll be banned for life. Okay, yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
The third change allows TRIMET personnel to intervene in non-criminal violations of local ordinances or state law. Currently, the code only prohibits activity on the system that violates state or local criminal laws. This means that if a person is violating a non-criminal law or ordinance, such as taking drugs on our bus or trains, our staff can only relay to the police to respond. This change allows TRIMET personnel to address behavior that is non-criminal in nature but important to ensure a safe system.
Oh, yeah, sure. This is such bullshit. I can't believe it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that these spitting incidents are operators' faults, but they definitely, some of these operators do deserve it. I'm sorry to have to say that, but that's the way it is. I was an operator for 20 years. I used to watch drivers brag about leaving people in the ditch. They thought it was funny. And then they wonder why they get attacked.
And then the fourth and final change to the code cleans up some outdated terminology and references to the old mobile ticketing app that we no longer offer. We've also updated both.
Yeah, how about that? Remember that? The whole, what was it? Was the mobile app. Remember, what was it called? So that was a nice pork barrel they spent millions on, and then they discontinued it. It's just another example of government corruption. It's just over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
Chapters 28 and 29 with gender-neutral terminology. With that,
hey, Pootie. Pootie will love this one. Gender-neutral. Come on, man, please. Oh, my God.
I ask for your support. Thank you.
Gender-neutral.
Well, since the board doesn't actually vote on this today, it's time.
Why not? Just say vote yes. You know you're going to vote yes. So why are you even bothering with all of this formality? Why do you even put it on the board? Just let the Sioux do it in secret. That's what he really wants. And why did you chop off the beginning of this board meeting? I mean, are you incompetent or are you just liars? You didn't let me see the public testimonies. So either you're completely incompetent or you're doing it on purpose, which is even worse because that means you're intentionally hiding things.
For us to open the public hearing on Ordinance 364.
Oh,
so I asked.
So there's a public hearing at the very they always put the most important things at the very end because they know that nobody is going to stick around for this shit. It's at the very end. Which anything with a public testimony involvement should be at the beginning, not the end. But they're operating like government. And I'm the only one watching it, so they can get away with all this because nobody cares but one guy and a couple people that watch my shit. Not many watch it.
Ask, is there anyone who would like to testify about this ordinance? Kimberly or whomever is assisting with this.
Hello, President Simmons. I'm looking at the attendee list now to see if we have any hands raised. And it does not appear that we do.
Of course not. Not that it would matter, because it doesn't. It doesn't matter. The public comment is useless. But of course there's no comment. It's at the very end of the meeting. Nobody's hanging around listening. Anybody who's going to listen to these meetings but some nut like me.
Okay. Then I will close the public hearing, and the second reading on the vote, which the board will actually act on ordinance 364 will take place at our January meeting.
Yeah, oh, yippee.
So we'll now move on to the first reading of ordinance 365, also regarding TRIMET code, but much more procedural in nature. And I'll ask General Counsel Shelley Devine to read the ordinance by title only.
Thank you, Ms. Board President. So ordinance number 365 of the Tri-County Metropolitan Transportation District of Oregon, amending chapter 14 of the TRIMET.
They're changing their tax code. This is where TRIMET gets its money, from self-employment tax and there's an employee payroll tax.
Code to revise the definition of net earnings from self-employment. This is the first reading and public hearing.
Thank you. Just a question for you, General Counsel Devine. Has this ordinance, it has been provided to the board, hasn't it, with any changes? So the board has seen that. Okay. I will now open the public hearing on ordinance 365. Is there anyone who has identified themselves to testify about this ordinance?
What a joke.
Hello, President Simmons. No, I do not see any hands raised at this moment.
Okay.
Fucking joke.
With that, I'll close the public hearing, and the second reading on this and vote for this ordinance 365 will also take place at our January.
Oh boy, I can't wait.
So if there's no other business to come before the board, then I'll adjourn the meeting for today, and our next regular meeting is scheduled for January 26, 2022. And it will be a virtual meeting. I know previously I had indicated we would.
Yeah, we know you're never coming back. You're elites. You get to be all safe in your little houses while everybody else does the work. We know how it works. We're not stupid.
Be attempting to get together in person, but with some of the latest issues with a COVID variant.
Yeah, the COVID. The elites never come back, but all the other people, we're stuck working forever in your coal mines. I mean, it's so insulting. I can't believe people are working at all anymore. I can't believe people haven't rebelled against this whole fucking system, but they're worker bees and their minds are polluted by by whatever. They can't see themselves out of a paper bag.
We are having some difficulty also finding a place that is willing to accommodate a public meeting at this time. So we'll stay meeting virtually until such time as the environment changes.
You'll never come back, you fucking cunt. Whoops. Sorry. Stop lying to us until the environment. Yeah. Why be respectful? Like, all your workforce is at work, but why would you want to be like a hero and actually do what they have to do? Why would you want to lead by example and do what everybody else is stuck doing. You're going to not do that. You're going to be elites, act like elites. See, she's laughing. I don't have to come to work. I'm in my little den with my library. No, you're not going to do that.
Where we can get together in person. So, I just want to wish you all a happy holiday, and I look forward to seeing you in the new year. And I hope you have a safe holiday festivities with family and friends. So, thank you very much. Thank all of you for your attention and
fuck off.
Talk about the
So
temporary.
So there, see, I'm all the way back to the beginning.
Review the
So they eliminated all the
performance report,
all the goddamn public testimony, and all the board reports were lopped off the meeting. I'm going to just make a comment here. I'll just put it on here. I'm sick of making public records requests to them. Okay, I'm just tired of it. But this is a really good example of the kind of corruption or incompetence that's really evident to somebody like me of these people. Either they did it on purpose because they didn't want us to see what the comments were, or they did it because they're incompetent. Either way, it's a failure. Over and out.